Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Deciding to Soar, Living Life Your Own Way. I'm Sharon Jameson, and I am so grateful that you are here. I know that there are many places where you can be, so thank you so much for your time, your energy, and your presence. I'm so grateful that you are here with me today. Well, family, today I want to share a hard truth. And that hard truth is that some people don't act like sanctuaries, they act like cesspools. Yes, some people don't act like sanctuaries, they act like cesspools. And I know it sounds harsh. And yes, I said it, and I will not take it back because I want to just name that sometimes we place our trust and place our truth with the wrong people. And discernment in times when great division is high and emotional compassion is low, we must be discerning because discernment is not only critical, it is vital, it is essential not only to your health, but to your career, to your family, and to your relationships. Now, you might be asking, why am I bringing this up now? I am bringing it up because when we are tired, when we are hungry for relief, when we are longing to be understood, when we are craving for justice, it is easy to let our guards down and share things that we should not share with people. And in those vulnerable moments, when we are sharing our truth with people that we don't know well, we often mistake availability for suitability. But just because someone is available to you does not mean that they are suitable for your confidences. And so we have to be careful that when we disclose parts of our lives, sometimes the deepest parts of our lives, our feelings, our emotions, our thoughts, our perspectives, to people who don't care about us, who don't care about our reputations and our careers, we put ourselves in harm's way. And we have to admit that throughout our lives, throughout our careers, that we have shared sensitive information with the wrong people. And it's not because we are bad. It's not because we are immature. It's because we are human. And when we are having a challenging time, that like many people are having now, we want to have a safe place to lay our burdens down. We want to have places where we can speak freely and not have to censor ourselves and not have to worry about our words being used against us. But we are not in those times right now. And so it's important that we remember that when political division, when competition, when there's a lot of chaos and change in our corporations, in our organizations, in politics, discernment cannot be negotiable. It's something that we have to make sure that we are aware of so we don't put ourselves in positions that don't support who we are. So, how do we avoid some of these pitfalls? And how do we discern between which people have the capacity and the willingness and the desire to be sanctuaries, and which people in our lives are just cesspools, and they are waiting for us to stumble and waiting for us to fall. So, what I want to do is share 7 key factors or 7 key markers to help you and to also help myself be more discerning so that I will only share and so that you will only share your thoughts, your perspectives, your beliefs, your desires, your struggles, your scars with people who have capacity to support you. Marker number 1, look at how people live their lives. Again, look at how people live their lives before you confide in them. Why? What are you looking for? You are looking for, do people walk their talk? Do their choices match their words? Because if people do not live with alignment, they will not hold your life, your secrets, your struggles with integrity. How can they? Because the truth is, we see people or know people not based on what they say, but what we see. So, what are you seeing about people before you share? Are you watching their habits, their commitments to themselves and their commitments to others? Are you watching how they're engaged in relationships? Are you watching how they deal with their own frustration and their own suspicions? Because people will reveal what they can handle by how they act. Behaviors always give you insight. So watch how people live their lives and never assume that someone has the capacity to hold your story if they have never demonstrated that they have the capacity to hold their own. I'm going to say that again. Never assume that someone has the capacity to hold your story, to hold your truth, if they have not demonstrated that they have the capacity to hold their own story, to hold their own truth, and to hold their own values. So that's number 1. Factor number 2, notice if people are always talking about others. Notice if people that you want to confide in, notice if they are always talking about others. Why? If someone freely shares stories that are not theirs to share, you can be certain that your story will eventually be added to that mix. I'm going to say it again. If people are coming to you and sharing the aspects of another person's life that they should not be sharing, just know that they will be sharing what you say. My elders used to say it like this: a person who brings us a bone will take a bone, right? So if they're bringing you gossip, they are going to take your words and gossip to someone else. Now, I want you to really think about that, because sometimes we feel that if a person hides names or if they sprinkle what they tell us with a whole bunch of disclaimers, that's good, but it's still not good, because if a person doesn't respect the boundaries of another person's life, they will not respect the boundaries of yours, right? So remember that anybody who's discussing people without their permission is a red flag. Anybody discussing someone else without their permission should be a big red flag, because gossipers may entertain you today, but they will expose you tomorrow. So remember that and navigate at your jobs, at your community events, in your families with great discernment. Third thing, pay attention to reciprocal sharing. Pay attention to reciprocal sharing. Now, healthy relationships have balance, they require balance, right? Now, it's one thing if you share openly with a counselor, a minister, or a mentor of some sort, because those roles are built on intentional one way disclosure, right? You talk to your therapist about your problems, they don't talk to you about their problems, right? One way disclosure relationships. But that's very different when you're in a peer relationship, right? So if you're in a relationship or a situationship where you are sharing all of your struggles, your scars, your stories, your truth, and the other person's or other people offer nothing about themselves, that's a lopsided relationship, right? And lopsided relationships and lopsided love never last. So when you are sharing information and you are giving them your truths, your fears, your innermost thoughts, and you are getting nothing in return, I want you to understand that that imbalance can turn into exploitation. Yes, I said it. So I live by a personal policy that I do not share with people who do not share with me. I'm clear. It's not negotiable. If you don't share with me, I don't share with you. And it protects my spirit and it ensures that there is a healthy mutual exchange of trust. So think about your relationships, your situationships, your companionships, your sisterships. And if there is an imbalance, I want you to take authority and put that relationship in better balance. So it's not lopsided, but also that because you don't leave yourself open to exploitation and additional exposure. Okay. Fourth factor, be careful that you share information with people who don't have anything to lose. Be careful if you share information with people who don't have anything to lose. Now, you might say, why is that an issue? If a person has nothing at stake, then they have nothing restraining them from betraying you, right? People, for example, who lack stability, accountability, credibility, may use your story, your disclosure as currency, as money, right? And they may treat your vulnerability as something to leverage instead of something to protect. So before you trust someone, ask yourself, what would it cost this person to violate me? You got to ask. It's a hard question. And if the answer is nothing, then they are not safe. If a person has nothing to lose by betraying you, they are not safe. And I bet you can think about someone in your life, at your job, in your family right now that you shared information and they had nothing to lose but everything to gain and they use it against you. For example, I remember I overshared with one of my colleagues that I was having some medical issues. And she went back and quote unquote let it slip, and that's in air quotes, that I was having some procedures done. And the leadership team gave a plum assignment that I had advocated for, that I deserved, to her, because they were under the impression that my medical condition would not make me available to do the job. Now, of course, I went back and I approached her and asked her, why did you share that information? And she gave me tears and all types of emotions, and said that she was trying to protect me, but she wasn't trying to protect me. She used that disclosure for her advantage. And I'm not mad at her, I'm mad at myself, right? Because it taught me a very important lesson, that trust must be earned, never assumed. Trust must be earned. And if a person has not earned your trust, because they have nothing to lose by betraying you, you put yourself in harm's way. And so never let your need for comfort, or never allow your need for support to outweigh your need for discernment. I want you to be wise. I never want you to fall into the trap that I fell into at my job years ago. Okay? Number 5, confess up, but share laterally. Confess up, but share laterally. Now, this is for people who are in leadership and management positions. We have to respect the boundaries of hierarchy. You have to. And that means that your direct reports are not your confidants. It doesn't matter how kind they are, how loyal they appear to be, how trustworthy you think they are. The leadership position and the management position is a relationship that is not structured for them to carry your personal burdens or your most profound truths. That's not that type of relationship. And sharing downward to people that report to you creates confusion, and it undermines your own relationship. And so the wise path is to confess upward, meaning confess up to your mentors, confess up to your spiritual advisors or your professional guides, right? Profess up, and you share laterally with your trusted peers who are not dependent on you, right? So if people are dependent on you for their income, for their jobs, for their promotions, for favors, you don't share your personal information with them. So you confess up, you share across, but never, never confess down. Now, when I mean confess down, you can say you made a mistake. That's not what I'm talking about. I am saying don't share any information with people who report to you, because sharing downward creates confusion, and it weakens your leadership, and it weakens your authority. So all you leaders and managers, I want you to pay attention, because it's human to want to share, but choose other people who don't report to you. Number 6, remember the climate that we are in right now. Remember the climate that we are in. Remember the environment that we are in. Here's the truth. The world is charged with vitriol, with division, with injustice, with inequities. And unfortunately, that same toxicity in the world flows and seeps into our corporations, our churches, our communities, our places of worship, our sororities, our fraternities, and our families. And one wrong word can cost you a career, and a misplaced story can fracture a relationship. And this is not about not being an advocate. This has nothing to do with that. Believe me, I believe in free speech. I believe that we should share our thoughts and our opinions. But I am saying the weight of leadership, the weight of your identity, the weight of your survival right now in this toxic climate that we're in is heavy. And that is why discernment is not just wise, it is necessary. Not everyone possesses the emotional intelligence. We're seeing that in the public. Not everyone possesses the moral compass or the spiritual maturity or the desire for unity to navigate the complexities of your truth. Many people do not know how to disagree without disconnecting. And some people think that having a different opinion equates to war, to combat, to battle, to hatred, and the list goes on. So again, use discernment. I'm not saying to shrink your voice. I am not saying be silent because I don't live that way either. I'm saying be discernment. Follow your gut, follow the spirit, the intuition, however you put a name on that sixth sense that lets you know when you can share and cannot share, and that will guide you in these challenging times. Number 7, it is important to remember that some people who seem like assistants are actually assassins. Some people who seem like assistants to you are really assassins. And this is the hard truth. Some of the people who are closest to you are not your allies. Oh, no, they're not. They are clever, they are cunning, and they are strategically placed to study you. Absolutely. I'm going to say it again. Some people are in your circle to study you, not to support you. They are there to study you. They are there to collect data, to identify your weaknesses, to learn where you are vulnerable, to understand your habits and your patterns. They are assigned to you. They are on assignment to study your pain, to assess the depths of your expertise and creativity. And they seem like they are curious and they seem like they are concerned, but they are cunning and calculating, and they're trying to hurt you. And their presence is not benign. It is a plot. Oh, yes, I said it. How do you know? How do you know when a person is an assassin and not an assistant? Well, one, they always seem to be around when you are stressed, when you feel insecure, or after a difficult conversation. They just show up. They just seem to be around, right? Two, they have details about your life that you have never shared with them. They just know stuff that you have never said. That that gives you an idea that they have been researching you, because nobody should know something about your private life that you have not shared with them. Three, they're always present when you have a breakdown, but they're never around to celebrate when you have a breakthrough. That's a sign. Because if people are only around you when you are in messy places and never around to celebrate milestones and miracles, that lets you know that they have some negative intention. And these are the people, while we have to be so mindful and careful, because sometimes these are the people who are the quickest to offer advice, quickest to offer support. They appear to want to mentor you while secretly they are sharpening a knife to stab you in the back. And I have to say it. It's not like I want to say it, but I want you to be aware. And they are there not because they care. They are there to cut you. Now, what's really interesting, and these people are usually people who have big egos, and they don't even realize that they are being used by people who are more corrupt. They don't realize that they are fools being used as tools, right? And they're just being used by other people to hurt you, and they think that their clandestine behavior is going to help them be in the in crowd, but all it does is to hurt them too. But they are such narcissists, egomaniacs, that they don't even realize that they are being food, right? So I want you to be really careful when people are always around you and they are always want to pick your brain. They always want to nominate you for opportunities that you know will harm you, harm your reputation, harm your family. They always want you to take uh, jobs or opportunities that are glass cliffs or glass ceilings. Um, they always are around when you are struggling. So don't be naive. And remember that just because they are close does not mean that they care. And they are around to cut, to consume, to collect information on you, but they are not there to care about you. And we have to be mindful and to be discerning and to be wise so we don't allow people in our lives who don't have our best intentions. So, discernment is key, and we need to make sure that we trust our intuition, because if you trust your gut, and I believe the spirit will guide you, you will prevent yourself a lot of heartache. And if something feels off or unsettles you, don't let your guard down. And you don't have to have a reason. If it feels off, that should be enough, especially now, because you might not have the rationale, but your spirit knows more than your mind might have evidence for, right? So, what do you do when you want to share? When you feel that you need a human voice, a human touch, you need to vent. 5 things. One, pause before you pour. Pause before you pour. Sit with your feelings first so you know what you truly need and what you really are feeling. Pause before you pour. Secondly, pray or journal. And pray doesn't mean you have to get on your knees. Sometimes you can walk and pray and talk to God, talk to your spirit, talk to your ancestors, whatever you have to do. Because sometimes your safest sanctuary is your own spirit or writing on your own page, right? Pray or journal. That's the second thing. The third thing is identify one vetted confidant. And I said vetted. Choose someone who has shown that they have the moral capacity, the spiritual infrastructure to hold your confidences. Because if a person shows alignment and reciprocity and confidentiality and an ability to live out their values, and you never see them talking about other people's lives, they might be a good person to share. Number 4, seek professional safe places, therapists, coaches, mentors, special spiritual advisors, healers, people who are trained, who have the capacity when peers cannot. And I want to say this, every therapist needs a therapist. Every coach needs a coach. Every minister needs a minister. Every spiritual advisor needs a spiritual advisor. You cannot do this type of work without some support. As people are leaning on you, you need to lean on someone else. So all of the people who are in those roles, I just wanted to point that out. And number 5, create community with caution. Create community with caution. That means build circles of trust slowly. Don't try to hardwire or hotwire relationships. Build circles of trust slowly based on receipts, not rhetoric. Safe places, remember, are cultivated. They are not assumed. And trust has to be earned, is not assumed. So I want to leave you with this. Family, I want you to be careful. I want you to be mindful. And I want you to remember three different things. One, a sanctuary, a person who's a sanctuary will witness you without wounding you. A sanctuary will witness you without wounding you, but a cesspool will pollute what is pure. A cesspool will pollute what is pure. Two, a person who's a sanctuary will protect your secrets. A person who is a sanctuary will protect your secrets, but a person who is a cesspool will spread them like waste. Again, a person who's a cesspool will spread your secrets, your truth like waste. They won't honor it. Third, a sanctuary is a person who will affirm your humanity and treat you with dignity. But a person who acts as a cesspool will erode your confidence, undermine your character, and pollute your calling. Yes? So always remember that some people are sanctuaries. Some people act like cesspools. And it's important to use your discernment because discernment is not about fear. Discernment is about wisdom, and discernment is about freedom. And when we choose sanctuaries wisely, you create space for your soul to soar. I hope this podcast blesses you. I hope it gives you wisdom and guidance to vet people who you trust with your truth. And if this message resonates, please share it with your friends and your family, with people who might need some insight to make sure they are choosing the right people in their lives so that they don't confuse availability with suitability. And also, if you will, please leave a review. And if you're not part of my newsletter, please sign up because I offer more intimate support in my newsletter. And I also have some upcoming workshops and sessions that I want you to attend. Some are free, some are of low investment, but I want to make sure that as we are navigating this critical time together, that we are all deciding to soar higher because I still believe that even in the midst of this challenging situation, that the best is still yet to come. Thanks so much for sharing time and space with me today, and blessings to you always.